Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Joy Journey with Jen. I'm Jen. It's kind of funny how I keep saying that. I'm Joy Journey with Jen. I'm Jen, and then I laugh. I think it's a bit funny that I'm here on Substack. And as part of my way to be more committed to Substack and to all of you in this community, I'm showing up. And sometimes I think that's funny. But thank you. Thank you, Substack, for creating this really beautiful environment that lets us experiment with new ways of showing up, sharing our stories, whether that's with words on paper, digital paper, or in video, or as podcast. I'm just feeling incredibly grateful to this community that creates this space. And as part of the way I'm showing up here, it's serendipitously, not coincidentally, very intentionally connected to the second year anniversary of publishing Fierce Awakenings, calling in courage and confidence to walk life's spiral path. And I'm giving a hat tip over to my co-author, Sarah Hoskin, who's over at the Sacred Beyond and is doing a series called The Wisdom of the Well, where as part of that journey, she's asked some of our co-authors to step up again and talk about where they've been on the spiral path these last couple of years. And I'm following Sarah's lead here and sharing the joy and the impact that Fierce Awakenings is still having on my own life. I was the lead author and developmental editor for the book. And in 2023, I was more of the orchestrator, the directing the orchestra and the symphony to make all of these pieces come together with the support of Red Thread Books in the background, but like sort of that front, navigating and helping everybody navigate the journey. And in these last couple of years, particularly this 2024 to 2025 period, I've been on a different kind of pivot, and I know things are shifting for me. And I've become an apprentice to my co-authors, and am continually learning from them even after 2 years have passed. So who I'm introducing to you today is Nicole Fabian, and a hat tip to Sarah. Sarah and Nicole recently had a very heart-opening conversation, and you'll definitely want to hop over to Sarah's site. I'll put the links below where you can find that interview. And again, just like amazing how stories come into your life. You hold them for a while, and then some other version of that may come in, and you feel it differently in a way that really changes something in your own perspective. So Nicole's story is one of those stories for me. And Nicole, let me just tell you, a little bit about Nicole. She is a special education teacher. She's also been trained with Reiki, meditation, and she knew at a very young age that she wanted to be a teacher. But the most important thing that she has learned is that she's also a highly sensitive empath, and she channels. She has a very connected relationship with angels and her spirit guides and her student, Anthony. Anthony died soon after graduating high school. And Nicole was his teacher during freshman year and senior year in high school. And Nicole writes it, Anthony saw things the way they were. And at times this world was a painful and difficult place for him. And he couldn't really hold all of that pain, and he found ways to numb his pain. And it really took a lot to get him to graduate. And then after that, his battle with addiction won. And when Nicole found out about that while she was still teaching, it really impacted her. So her chapter is called How I Failed One Boy. This is, in Nicole's words, what happened in the aftermath of Anthony's death. I prayed that Anthony would understand and know his own kind and loving soul, and that he would see that he had so many beautiful gifts to share. Regretfully, I never said any of those things to him while he was alive. I feared overstepping boundaries now that he was no longer in my classroom. After his death, I started to question everything I had done as his teacher. He was successful his freshman year, and then we let him go. Was the gap of time between the end of his freshman year and the beginning of his senior year too long? With the lack of support during that time and after graduation, did he find himself overwhelmed and alone? He was such a smart kid, but that wasn't enough, I thought. The school system failed him. I failed him too. Anthony was a highly sensitive kid. I'll forever ask myself, why didn't we have more in place to help him deal with his emotions and his feelings? Why do we not help our students connect to themselves emotionally, physically, spiritually, as well as academically? Why did we not help him learn to self-regulate his emotions, learn to repair, expand, and restore his nervous system? Why didn't we teach him that drugs and alcohol can numb out the pain, but there are other ways to get through without harming our bodies? Anthony died. I lost him. I didn't save him. I felt I could save all my students. My gifts as his teacher did not impact him in the superhero way I thought was possible. I thought all I needed to do was love them and give them a safe place to learn. They needed more from the system and from me. I still get goosebumps reading this story and feeling the depth that Nicole feels this, that while we consider some of things that happen in life as our failures or shortcomings or regrets, there is a system behind us that's designed a way that doesn't always support all of us fully. And Nicole's story is sort of the lowest point of the book, of a journey, a descent into these really dark shadows of who we are. And they ask the questions of how we show up in the world, if we're doing enough, if we're being enough, if we're being enough for ourselves, if we're being enough for people around us that we love and care for. And how do we move into this space of fulfillment and love and satisfaction when a system designed to make us not reach those higher ways of being is also working its power. And I feel this still, like Nicole's questions still come full circle to me of where am I failing myself? And why is my fear of failure why does it have such a stronghold on my philosophy, my value system? What if I did fail? Is there really anything wrong with that in my everyday existence if I fail at something? I'm a gold star chaser, so failure for me is something I fear. And I'm learning, and of course I've had failures and I've survived. and I've thrived because of those failures. And if those failures didn't happen, I would not be in a place where I am today. For sure, I see that. But still, this idea that sometimes we're doing as much as we can, loving as deeply as we can, and that's it's not going to be enough. And somewhere along the lines, we have to be okay with that. And we have to learn that sometimes we're going to feel like we fall short, and it's not our fault. How much more can we do for each other? And where is that boundary between what we can do, what is ours to do, and what is also the choices in the life path of other people who have to also show up for themselves and also take responsibility for who they're supposed to be in life. And I come back to Nicole's story now with some of those same questions, you know, where can I be more, do more, better? And maybe that's not the right question. There's another version of that question that's coming, and it's, how can I just trust that I am being who I need to be right now, and the other people in my life are also being who they can be now, with their capacities and their capabilities, with my capacities, my capabilities. And there's nothing else to be or do. It's just the way it is. Please go listen to Nicole's interview with Sarah. Links are below. Keep inviting yourself into this spiral path and being open and aware to the fierce awakenings that are happening around you, through you, in you, almost all the time. Almost all the time. What do you hear when I say to you, you know, how can you hold all of what you're holding? How can you hold the success and the failure and the regret and the feeling of accomplishment? How can you hold the grief and the love? How can you hold yourself with compassion as you throw yourself out in the world and become your brightest light? I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. Thanks for walking with me on this journey. May you have and find some joy today as you encounter your own fierce awakenings. I'll see you next time. And next time we have another really fantastic co-author coming up with her story directly linked to Nicole's in my mind and heart. So I'll see you next time, and onwards and upwards we go.